Yes, so the collaboration with XLR was an excellent one. We conducted a Power BI workshop with Advanced Excel over a span of 3 days. The workshop was almost 12 hours long in total. Mr. Karthik, who was an amazing trainer, helped the students understand the concepts deeply. I am sure that the students will be able to apply these concepts in their careers as well as their daily lives.
The trainer, Mr. Karthik, was an excellent person where he explained in very detailed manner on how to give great insights using very complex data sets.
So it was a machine learning workshop. We learned a lot from the course and it was a great experience attending the workshop.
The trainer was very helpful. He had a hands-on approach with his teaching and it was fabulous.
This was a great experience for me. So I would absolutely love it if XLR and its team would come again to our campus and conduct more events like this.
It was a great course and it started from basics and took me to a great extent.
The experience of the workshop was really nice. The feedback from all the students was positive. They understood the concept. The workshop was also practical based with some questions. The experience with XLR was very smooth. They helped us in conducting the workshop smoothly right from the booking of the vendor and deciding the course till the distribution of certificates. In overall, this workshop was a success during our Technical Fest Atmos, and I thank XLR for being a part of it.
Good evening, all. I hope you all doing well. Students, I request please inform your friends to join the session. As I can see, the participants are very less. So please inform your friends to join the session as soon as possible. Aditya sir, good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, you can start the session. Sir.
Good evening, all of you. Let me just share my screen, then we are going to start the class. So, guys, today we are going to talk about triggers. And first of all, let's talk about what we learned till this point and what we are going to learn today and what is the benefit and what we are going to do through this learning. So, today we are going to first talk about that, then we are going to do the main part of the apex, which is triggers, and the other is your particular, or you can say the lightning web tech or your framework. So till today we talk about different things. So let me just first open the developer console. So if I open the debugger for you right now, so if I open the debugger here and here today I'm going to tell you first that how you're going to create a particular CRM software, what is the use and how you're going to create a CRM software in Apps. Because we talk about everything, but still we don't know how to create a CRM software. So in the initial phase to right now, what we learn the Apex concept, Apex basics, which we have very good idea. After that, we have the ideas of classes and methods. Also, after this, we have the ideas of the next thing, which will the SOQ. After this, we have the idea of DMLs. We have also the idea of exceptions. So till this part, we cover the main topics like this: Apex basics, classes, methods, SOQL, DML, exception. So these are the topics which we covered till this point, and now also we'll know about corner limits and code bulkification. Now, how you are going to write a Apex class or how you are going to create a CRM software. So creating a CRM software is like customer relationship management software which was created on the Salesforce platform. So how you are going to create a CRM software? For creating a CRM software, first of all, you need to create different types of classes for a CRM software. For example, if you see this is my on I'm right now here, and inside this you can see I have a very basic or a simple software here. Home, chatter, campaign leads, contacts, of the day reports. So all of these are actually a class. Like home is a class, chatter is a class, campaign is a class, lead is a class, contact is a class, opportunity is a class, report is a class, dashboard is a class. So how you are going to create your application like this, and how you are going to able to show your application inside these all. So how we are going to do this? For doing this, this is not very tough. First of all, what you need to do, you need to create the basic data type for your particular or basic structure for your application. How you are going to do this? For this, first of all, you need to click on here and need to click on the setup. Click on setup and open this in a new tab like here. After opening this, first of all, here you need to search, come, and what you need to search for. When you search here for app, first the thing you need to do is you need to search for app here. So when you search for app here, what you are going to get here, you see I search for app, and here I will get the option of app manager. Now when I click on app manager, here I will get information of creating an app. So this is how you are able to create a new app which you are going to perform different type of operations inside that app or for inside that file. So right now here you see we have different apps here. So if you want to create an app, you need to click on this new lightning app or new external client. So either what you are going to make, you need to specify these. And why we are doing this? See, in Salesforce, this is a very good feature that we can define the front end very easily by using the GUI tool, which was already present in the Salesforce, like the dashboard tools, like the setup tools, debuggers. So here you need to create a new light. You need to click on new lighting. When you click on this section, after this, here you get some information which you need to give here, like what is the app name, what is the developer name. So here, let me just suppose I'm going to make an app, anything. So when you click on that thing, you will open this page. Now suppose I want to create an app name. Let me show you how you find it again. Okay. So first of all, you need to come on the setup icon, and inside the search icon, you need to search for apps, and here you will find this app. After this, you need to click on this new lightning app. When you click on new lightning app, here you need to specify the app. Suppose I'm making a task assigner app. So I need to specify the name task then underscore assigner. Less assigner. After this, here you need to add a developer name. So basically, developer name and the app name will be same, but it is very good practice that if you have a developer name, you can specify like after like this developer. After this, here you need to give a description about app, or you can give anything. Here you can upload an image which is going to be the icon of the app, or you can just choose a color. So right now, I'm just choosing a color here, which I'm clicking on done. And after this, here I am just going to click on next. When I click on next, here you can see everything was in. Now here comes the option, like what is the navigation style, what is the setup experience, what is the support from factor, what is the add personalization setting. So navigation style, which should be always standard navigation, and you have also console navigation. You can choose anything, but the standard navigation is like the basic, which we go from one to one, where the console is a little bit complicated. So we are not going to choose console, we are going to choose the standard. After this, here you get the setup experience, like full setup option, service setup, data cloud setup. So we are going to choose the setup, full setup. Supported from factors where you want this will support. For example, you have CRM software for a task assignment for a limited or a small MNC company or anything, where the boss wants you to create a task assignment. So you want to make sure that whatever project you are going to make is sure to be accessible by the particular entity of the company or particular person of the company very easily without any problem. So obviously you need to specify this icon desktop on phone, so he can access the CRM software from anytime, anywhere, or anytime in the world. After this, here are some personalization setting which you need to do according to your node. Like here you can see disable end user personalization of navigation item in this app. Disable temporary tab for items of this app. Use omni-channel sidebars. Here is the some things you need to personalize, or either you can just leave it blank, which we don't right now need. After this, you need to click on next type. Here is the main thing. Utility item desktop only. Means these are the some utility item which was going to show you. So if you click on add utility, here you find different type of utility which is going you are going to add in your particular CRM software. Like what was things in this going to be have. Like it has a chatter feed, chatter publisher, recent items, custom, or whatever you want to give, you need to specify. By default, we are going to make the utility word default and nothing more. I'm not going to add any utility which will be going to do for me. After this, here is the come the next thing. Here you get available items for this. Like in this navigation item, you have different things available. What you want to use in this section. But here, see, everything is actually already app created in a Salesforce or an object which was available, and we are not going to use these things. We are going to use some different objects. Okay. So we are not going to use these any of them, and we are going to create our own objects which we are going to access. So we are going to create custom objects which we are going to use. So here you can see different things. But what I need a access. So here I need to search for system. So when you search for this, just let me go there. Okay, here you see you get a service resource which you need to use. So what you need to do, you need to click on this service resource, which is going to give you the permissions or maximum permissions, you can say, or you can search for authorization and you will find something. Like if I want to use authorization access, so authorize. Like here you can see authorization from data use, authorization from text, and like these type of authorization which we you also want. So how you are going to add these things? For example, if I want authorization form, I need to book this thing and put it here inside this. What I need to do after this, I need to click on this icon, and when I click, this particular feature will come here. So whatever navigation I want in my particular system, like if I want accounts, I need to click on accounts and I need to click on here, so it will go and come here. So you can specify what type of options you want in your CRM software and you need to put here. After this, you need to click on next, and here comes the next thing, like use profile. Like what is the use profile you want for, like it will be analytic cloud intelligence, analytic cloud security user, integration, authenticated website, B2B recording portal buyer profile. Like what type of this thing you are actually trying to make. So here you need to find what is actually you are going to make it, like what type of this thing is, like minimum access Salesforce, like let just give is will be a solution manager or a standard user. If you don't understand what you're going to give, you just simply give the standard user, which is a good. After when you click on save and finish, your particular application was created, and here you can see this application. If I just scroll a little bit down again, let's come here. Here you can see we have this task assigner app which was created, and here this app is still not ready actually. So how we are going to make this app complete? This is the actual task. Now if you see on this section, let me clear. If you see on this section, you have two options. Either you can edit, delete, or close. Now also I have some other options also for this thing. Now for making these type of things, here you can see you just simply create this. But when you click on again and when you click on edits, here you will open the builder app, and from here you need to build your particular this application. Like what is this app detailing, what is this app option, what is the utility item, and what is the other things, navigation item, user profile. After this, here you need to click on the app settings. Here you see the pages option. When you click what is the pages, here your task assignment, and here you have lightning app builder. So this is what we are basically used to create these apps, and basically this is how a simple application or a particular application was created. Now if I come again on the home Salesforce and share you this tab, this is actually not completely created. Now if I just click here and click on view all, here if I just scroll a little bit down, task assigner, let me just refresh this page once. Task assigner. So it will be, I think, here. Let me just search for. It was actually not showing there. Just give me a second. Let me search it again for here. Sometime it will take a little bit long to open that particular app in the this section. So let me just search it again for you. Task assigner. Yes. Okay, wait a second. So here we are actually, I'm not right now able to see this thing. Okay, I think it was taking a little bit more time to load in the application system than usual. So when it was loaded, you can see that thing particular on your particular here, and you are also able to see some options like this. Now this is not actually this part was done. It was like only 10%, or you can say only 2% of application was done. But how we are going to make it complete application? So making a complete application was a little bit difficult from starting. Suppose if you want to make the complete application through the builders, it was completely UI based, but this is going to be a little bit complicated at some time, because when you are making a application with a complete using this task builders or API builders or using the GUI, it will be a little bit complicated. So what we are going to use, we are going to use our program. We created different classes first for our particular, you can say, methods in our VS Code. So in VS Code, we create different types of classes, like a class for font class, a class for context, a class for management, a class for suppose you can say any other thing. Like if I show you here, like here you can see this marketing CRM. So we created a class for home chatter. So the first step is you need to go to the VS Code and start a project. The simple same way you just start a new project, like the same way you need to start a new project. Let me just show you how you're going to create a new type of project in the VS Code very easily. So for creating a new project, let me just share my entire screen. Then we are going to move it to that part. Just give me a second. So if you want to create an entire new project, what you need to do, the first thing you need to do is you need to open your particular, or you can say simply your VS Code, which is very important. So here I need to search for VS Code. VS. So after click this, you need to open your Visual Studio Code. When you open your Visual Studio Code, you need to start creating a new project. This time. And inside this project, we are going to create a new project URL. So here you see this was actually okay. So let me just come here. Just give me a second. So here you see right now I have a class, and I already have a one class, but I need to create one new project. So I'm going to just create a new project. So I'm going to click on files. And after this, I need to create a new folder this time, which I'm going to use to create a new project or a new thing. Before going to do, you need to remember all the commands which you used before that when you try to create a project. And remember, when you are trying to do these things, creating a CRM software, you probably go to the VS Code, because I'm not just going to suggest you that you can use your debugger console or the online class editors to do these things. I'm going to completely suggest that when you are trying to create a complete CRM, try to use your particular, or you can say your simple this thing, or you can say your SFDX. So what here we are going to do, we need to start this project. So click on files. After this, I'm just going to click on open folder. After this, I'm going to open a new folder. Suppose in the local disk A. Here I'm going to click a new folder. I'm just going to create new folder, and this will be like a new folder. And this I'm just going to navigate to this folder, select folder. Now I'm just moving to this folder and just opening this new folder. Inside this, I'm going to create my whole new program, which was a new CRM software or a new CRM application. So right now you see this particular thing, or you can say the browser opens the VS Code, and here we are. After this, what you need to do, the same way if you remember correctly, how you just simply just start your writing the project. So first of all, you need to come here. After this, you need to go to the command palette, and here you need to click on the first icon, SFDX create project. This is the first thing you need to click after coming here. After clicking on SFDX create project, you need to wait, and it will start your, here you can see on the right side activating extents. You get a message, and it was going to take a little bit time to create start creating your new project. Sometimes it will take too much time, very fast. After this, here you can see the person contact directly from you. Salesforce CLI application. This will send. Let me try to run. Okay, so after see, sometime you're going to get these type of error like no SFDX project found on the JSON root directory. What you need to do, you need to click on the settings, and when you click on the manage extension, when you come here you sometimes get restart the extension. You need to click on that, and that particular problem will be solved. After this, again I'm going to click on command palette, create project, and here I will get the option my three, like what is this project is going to. So I'm going to choose a standard project because I want to create a standard project. And here you need to enter project name. So this will be a task assignment of game. So task assignment. This will be enter here. After this, it say that you need to choose a folder where you want to store this thing. So I'm just clicking on create project because I'm already on that folder. So I'm not going to choose it. And here you see you'll just open your VS Code with all these files which we require. Like here you can see we have a scripts file, we have config files, we have VS Code and everything. Now here if you see in this file there is a little bit complication. Like if you see here we actually don't have an object file inside it. So we also need to create an object file here which was going to store objects. Like in the script you see you have Apex and SQL. In Force app if you open this here you see these are the actual things. Here you have every other thing which you need to require. Like here you need to click on objects to create your objects. Like what type of objects is required in a particular class. If you remember correctly, the custom objects. Here you are creating custom objects. So suppose I created a new object. So suppose I create an object name, a custom object which I want to use. So one thing you need to remember, whenever you created a custom object, either you first created that custom object in your Salesforce first. So first, this is very good practice that either you come here and you created your custom object before creating this thing here. So it was a very good process. And how you created a custom object? For creating a custom object, here you need to come on the object manager. And when you come to the object manager, what you need to do, I'm just going to create here a custom object this time. So create, and here yeah, I need to specify custom object. And after this here I'm just going to create a new basic simple custom object. Now this is the field this was going to ask me about a custom object, and here I'm just going to tell you how you can create a basic file, or you can say a basic front end or looking way of a project after how you're. So first you need to write a custom object because object is very important because all the process was going to happen through the data. So first you need to specify here the name, or you can see the label. You need to be very focused that the field label is the thing which was going to show to the user. So here you need to write specify the field label. If you again still confused about the field label and other thing, remember here it was saying this is a single and plural label are used to in tabs, page layouts and reports. So here you need to write the field label which will be like is suppose I'm making a field like this was a task, so it will be a field name task. Okay. Here, pure level, you need to write just a plural form. It was also not necessary, but simply write or just simply leave. Start with vowel sound, or you can type of confirm. Here, you need to specify the description of the particular this object, or you can know. Here, you get context sensitive hazard. Open the standard salesforce.com help and training window. Open a window using Visual Force. So here you have two options which you are going to choose. So we are just going to choose the first one. We are not going to use the Visual Force here. After this here we can see the record name. This is the record name which was going to show by the user like task name. And what is the data type here? It will be a text type of data like task name, and it was going to be text. Here are some optional features which you are going to use. Allow reports, allow activities, tracks, field history, allow in chatter groups, enable licensing, like these type of options. Here you get object classification like allow sharing, allow bulk API process, allow streamline API process. See, you don't need to remove these things because sometimes what happens, you are going to use different objects with different other things, or a single object or a single application with other. So at that time, these things will be helpful. So we are not going to do anything. Here you get the two options. Deployment status means what is the deployment status. So either it was completely deployed or in deployed. So you need to specify here in deployment. After this, search status, allow search. Means if you off this search status, you are not able to search this particular thing or particular object whenever you searching in the, you can say, the databases of the Salesforce. After this, here you get some other option object creation option, available only when custom object is first created. Add note on the attachment related list to default page layout. Launch new custom tagged wizards after saving this custom object. So this was actually not necessary. The only thing was necessary is do these two things. After this, you have an option here. Click on save. When you click on save, you just created here. You get a value error that you need to enter here a value. So here we just need to give the value. So it will be actually tasks, and this will be task actually. Okay, now this is done. Now click on save, and this time you see we created the object, a task custom object. Now if you see the API name is here, task underscore. So this is how we are able to access this thing. Now this is the first step to create a basic or a simple, you can say, a task object which you just created. After this, you need to come on this field and relationship tag. Now here you see we have three fields light round. Like here you have create by, last modify, owner and task. So here you have only one field. So here you can option of creating new fields like here. By if you click on new fields, you are able to create new fields here. Right now if I click on new, here I am able to create a new field again. So here I need to specify what type of thing this field was going to take and what this task uh, option or task menu has different. Like this task has a name and this task has an ID. So suppose I'm going to get one more thing, a checkbox. I'm going to give a checkbox like from user. So checkbox allow user to select a true check or a false check. So I'm going to give a checkbox also for a task like did you do this thing before or not. So click on next. Like here is the field label, like what it will going to be. So field label you need to again be very careful. Like this time this task field label will be like maybe checking. So I just want field label should be checking. So you need to specify the field number which you want checking. Here what it was going to do. By default value uncheck. Field name check. Description you can give. Here you can have text give. It was completely depend on you. After this you need to click on next. When you click on next, what is the next thing here? Wait a second. Okay. After this, here you see this is the important things. Like select the profile in which you want to grant edit access to the field via field secure. This field will be hidden from all profile if you do not add it to field level secure. So here you can see this was visible. Now if I just click on read only, everything was allowed, and now this will be. Now we are able to perform everything. Now you need to click on next after this, and here you get see there's a field name is checkbox, data type checkbox, field name checking. After this, here add field, page layout name, task layout. After this you need to click on save, and if you see this time here you just created a checking field which has a checkbox type of data, and it was also created. Now you can see these two things work very perfectly, and this is a very good way. So first you need to specify in task manager system that what type of these task object is going to enter, and then you just create these things. After this you need to come to the VS code, and here the second thing you need to do is to authorize your project. Like how you're going to authorize, I think everyone already familiar with authorization of the code. So you need to come on the command palette, and here you need to create sfdx authorize and org. So you need to click here, you need to click on project URL, and here you need to give the alias, or you just simply click on enter. So right now I'm just clicking enter, and it was start the Salesforce CLI integration. Just give me a second, guys. Okay, so here you need to log into your particular Salesforce account, which we just created. So by default, I just forget my password. So what I'm going to do, I need to check my password. So password and autofills. I'm just going to check my password. It will be on task Salesforce. Let me just give a second. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so this is my password. Okay, just give me a second again. Let me reshare my screen. Okay, after doing this thing, what we need to do next? We need to log in here to confirm our validation through the Salesforce. So I'm just pasting here and clicking on login. Now after this, our Salesforce is connected to the third party software, which is the VS Code, and we complete the authorization part, and now we are able to do the codes on our here. Here we get a message that authentication successful, and now everything was done. After this, what I need to do, I need to come to the next thing, which is on my VS Code here. Now, after coming to VS Code, here you can see the authorization was actually done and we are actually successfully happy. After this, the next thing I need to do, I need to store all the things inside this Force app. So here you see you have a org browser. Now when you click on this org browser, here you can see different things which you are finding. Now, but the main thing I want is to here put this thing or this particular field. You can see this task name or you can see this details. If I come on this task object, I need to get this task object inside my particular section. So if I come on the layout, here you can see the API name is task underscore C, and I need to get this application right now. Or I'm sorry, I need to get this object in my developer console here because whatever coding I'm going to do, I'm going to do here. So how you are going to do this? For this, if you see here, you can study it. If you just go still a little down, you can find everything. Like we are right now contexting for objects. So here you can see custom objects. Here you get the option of custom objects. Now when you click on this custom objects here, you see you have all the custom objects available. Like here you can see this we have appointment, asset, and different custom objects. So you need to search for task, scroll a little bit down. It was a very down. So we are right now searching for task. It will okay. So here you see this is the custom object which we just created was there. Now when you click on this icon, here you see this small icon. If you click on this icon, this particular project or this particular object was simply stored. Just give me a second guys actually. Okay. So here you see you need to click on your custom object and you need to find. After this, if you click on this section, it will say retrieve this source from org. So it will retrieve this source from org to your system. So now if you see, if I click here, I will get a message, Salesforce CLI integration done. And here if you click on show, you are able to see that this file is right now come on our here. And here you can see on the objects, you are able to see if you click on fields, here you see your object or the first object in the object section, you have this task.c. Now if I just close this again and open this again here in the field section, if I open again, here you can see in the fields we have a checking field and we have a task C object. So right now we just created our first part and we just use this is how you just simply store or access different objects. You have also one way you can directly create here a new type of object. For creating a new object here you need to search for go to the command palette and you can use this command palette to create a new object. Also, if you search for here create object, so here you see this time I am not getting this object. Create default scratch version or app or a component, let me just say. Okay, right now it was not showing actually. Okay, so it was actually not showing. You can directly also able to create this file, but this is the best or easiest. After storing all of these things right now here, what is the next thing you need to do? Like here you can see this is task assignment operator. After doing this, the second thing you need to remember and you need to focus on at how you are going to upload this app in your particular Salesforce. And this is actually the main important thing or you can see the main important code which you need to write here to upload this particular project in your Salesforce CLI, because this is the main thing. Right now you see which we done here. Now what I want that this application should show here means inside this section, and for this I need to give some permissions to this particular app to show here, because if I search here again for task assignment, here you can see we are not getting anything because we actually did not deploy this. So what you need to do, you also need to deploy the whole part, or the you can say this whole code, and how you're going to deploy it. For deploying you need to click on this actually here, this task assignment, you need to click on this thing, and you need to click on this whole project or deploy this project on the here. How you're going to do this? For this you need to open the command palette, and here when you open you'll get an option. Here you will see if you search for deploy. Wait a second, we are not getting deploy option. Okay, let me just come here. Wait a second. Okay, so when you click on right click, and here you see you will get an option here. When you click on this right click, after coming on this task manager, if you click on the right click, task manager, if you come here and if you click on this right click, here you will see an option deploy from the project to or deploy this source to org, or clear. Here you get two options, deploy from project to org. So you have this thing you are going to use to upload. So if you click on deploy this source to org, you are able to deploy all the folders from here to org, or you can say on your particular system. But this is not going to work because this was only going to deploy one thing, but we want to deploy all of these things. So how we are going to do this? So let me just show you the code which we are going to use to deploy the whole project inside this org, and then we are able to see our app inside here. Let me just reshare my screen. Just give me a second. Windows. Okay. So right now it is sharing. So right now after here, the next thing I need to do is to deploy. And how this was going to do this. After for doing this, I need to write here a command palette, or you can say a code which is going to do this task for me. But what is the code we need to write here? Just give me a second, guys. I'm just coming back. Then we are going to start the class. Just give me 2 minutes. Am I audible to all of you right now? Am I audible to all of you right now?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Thank you, ma'am. So right now we are going to write the codes which we are going to use to upload this thing on the Salesforce platform and see how we are going to do. For doing this, what I need to do, I need to write some codes which is going to work the same thing. Let me just rewrite this thing here. Just share me this screen again. Chrome tab. Okay. So now if you see this, you are able to see these things, and these are the commands which we are going to use to deploy this project on the Salesforce org. How we are going to see, this is the first thing, that open terminal command prompt and navigate to the above folder, authorize the Salesforce org, sfdx force auth web login a. So these are the process which we just already done. We already deploy all metadata to your Salesforce. Now this is the second part you need to do. Now this time we need to deploy all these metadata to the Salesforce org, and how we are going to do. For this, you see, this is the command which you need to write. So sfdx force source deploy p force p, here is the p is your like permission, force app main default, which is this. If you see this force app, which we are just defining this, so you need to run this particular command to successfully, or you can say deploy the whole code project on the Salesforce. So here what you need to do, you need to click on this section, open org. So it will open org. Actually, I don't need to open. So clicking on cancel. Actually, I'm not going to open here. Here you need to click on this section, and after this you need to click on this three dots, and you need to click on here terminal. Now when you open this terminal, here you need to run this particular piece of code on the terminal to execute this particular piece of code. So if I click on here sfdx force source, what is the source we are deploying? -p is the permission. We are deploying force app main default, means we are storing this particular thing. You see force app main default means we are just uploading all of these things, which is the most important, which is an application. Now we are after doing, if I just click on here, okay, I need to come here actually. If I click here enter, see we get an error like, and this time we see cannot find the module D new folder 3 task assignment. So here we actually, I'm getting this error actually. Okay, new folder 3. Okay, the problem is that internal module cannot. Okay, so we are getting this module not found error. We are getting this. We are already there. Let me just rewrite this thing. Force source deploy p force. Okay, we are already inside the task assignment. Just let me click here again. Okay, so we are getting this error. Let me just try to refine module D new folder 3. Undefined. Okay, so this was the undefined folder. Just give me a second. So it was not able to file this particular. Wait a second. Okay. We are searching for. Okay, so it is not working properly actually. Let me just give a second actually. I need to accept export. Wait a second. Okay, wait a second. I just need to see one. Scripts, force app, application, permission sets. Okay, right now I think it was due to some issues, it was not working. But when you just deploy this code to the Salesforce org, it was actually successfully deployed, and then it was a start showing on there. After this, you need to use this command sfdx, and you need to give the permission set. So it will start appearing on this. But you need to remember, whatever here you can see sfdx force user permission assign and health admin. Now here you can see this health admin is a project name which I just created. So in the place of health admin, you need to write your project name which you just going to create, and what is your application name, and how you're going to find this. If you click on this sfdx and you click on this console.json, here you will get your target org name, and if you click on this sfdx or or here you can say custom object, and here you see your particular different names you'll be able to see this time, and you need to write your particular folder name, or you can say the task name which you want to use on this section, and that is going to be work properly. After this it was done, and then you need to open your Salesforce, and then you are able to see your particular application on this icon, or you can see on your Salesforce. And this is how you simply able to upload your Salesforce project to the Salesforce org, and then you can start writing your whole code from the start again. Now this is how these things is actually going to work properly, but let's try to start our programming through here. So now after coming on this section, we are going to talk about now triggers, because we already discussed that how you're going to upload your project on the Salesforce org. So I'm just going to send you all these three codes, pieces of code which you are going to use to deploy the source to org, and how you're going to give the permission sets for the org, and the third code how you can use that. After deploying, what you need to do, you need to create different types of classes. Like for a class, if you have a class for chatter, create a chatter class, create a campaign class, a lead class, a contact class, opportunity class, a report class, a dashboard class. Create different types of class and everything, and then you need to start doing deployments. So this is the process of deployment, how you're just simply able to deploy. But now comes the main part which we are going to right now. Share this tab instead. Here we are going to just assume. So now we are going to see the main part of this which we are talking about right now, which is triggers. Now when we start writing our project, or writing our you can say creating our basic projects, the main most important thing come here is the triggers, which we are going to use multiple times. A trigger is like an action which was going to happen whenever a transaction occur in the database. So basically, database triggers, I think everyone already familiar with. A database trigger is a trigger, or you can say a program, which was going to occur whenever a transaction was going to happen in the database. So like it was either insertion, deletion, or anything. Whenever anything occurs, a piece of code you can say was executed by default or automatically, which is known as trigger. In Salesforce, if I talk about triggers, a trigger is a piece of Apex code that executes before or after a specific data manipulation language, or you can say the DML, because this is the database operation. So database manipulation, such as shutting, updating, or you can say after deleting, after inserting, anytime. See, triggers are basically used for automating the process. Means you can just automate the process using triggers, which can do the large number of tasks in a single click. Now let's try to see how triggers actually work and how you are able to create your own trigger. So right now you see, right now we are in the developer console, and now we are going to understand how we are able to create our own triggers and how these triggers is actually useful. So right now I'm going to create a trigger on a particular object, and I'm going to see how this is going to work. So first, how you're going to write a trigger. So here I'm going to write a trigger on the lead, and let's see how this is going to work. For this, first of all, let's we come here on the debugger console. Yes. First thing after for creating a trigger, you need to write here. The first thing is create a trigger. For this, you need to click on files. After this, you need to click on new, and here you find the Apex trigger. So whenever you want to create a new trigger, first of all, you need to click on new, then Apex here, and you find the Apex trigger. After clicking here, you need to specify the name of trigger. What is the name of this trigger? So you need to specify the name of the trigger. So to name it, I'm going to name it a random name like my new trigger, my trigger. After this, you need to specify the object where you want to perform this trigger. So suppose I want to perform this triggers on the lead object. So lead. So here you need to choose the object where you want to perform this trigger. So I'm just searching for lead. Here I'm going to get the lead. You need to choose the object. Remember why we are choosing here object. If you focus correctly, then you understand that trigger is actually a process or a task which was going to perform on the databases. That's why you need to specify on which object or on which database you need to perform this trigger. Means whenever a insertion was going to happen, whatever trigger you write will automatically execute, and it will perform automation tasks. Like if you delete a particular record, what type of things was going to happen, it is decided by the trigger. So trigger is a basic automation task which was going to automatically executed whenever operation was happening in DML. For example, you want that whenever a new user come in the particular database, you want to send him a greeting mail. How you're going to do this? You don't want to go and do this all time by a user. So you just create a simple trigger. So whenever a new user come into the database, the trigger will automatically execute it, and trigger will get his email and send a greeting mail to the particular person. And this is how trigger is useful. After this, I will click here submit, and here you see we just created our trigger. Now inside this trigger, you need to specific see these things. So the first thing, whenever you start creating trigger, you need to write the trigger. After this, the name of the trigger, which is my trigger. After this, you need to use the on keyword on lead. It was specifying like where you are specifying the trigger, like where and how. Now here you see you get an option like before insert and before update. Here, sorry, before insert. Now what is the meaning of this before insert? It was saying that this trigger is going to execute before insertion. Means before inserting anything, whatever information you are going to do or click on enter, means before inserting this to the database. Means if you write a DML query, so when you click on execute, at that time this trigger was going to insert, going to run. Means if the date before saving the data into the database, this trigger is going to work. Also, you have some other thing like before update. You have one more trigger like before update. Now, how this before update works? Now, if you see this before update, it was going to say, suppose you have a data and you want to update that data. So you can execute a trigger before updating the data. If I just try to update it, this trigger was going to update just before the updation of the data. So this is how these things is going to work: before insert, before update, after insert, after update. So we have different types of triggers also there. After this, the next thing you need to do right is write the body of the trigger. Like what is the automation process this trigger is going to do. So right now I'm just going to give a simple message which is going to give a print a debug message which is just going to print a simple debug statement like system dot debug, and here I need to give a basic statement like trigger is called. Trigger is called. Now you see when I write this system.debug and here I specify trigger is called, the whole trigger is created. Now after this, what is the next thing I need to do? I need to save this code, and after saving this code, I need to go and check whether this trigger is going to work or not. So here you can see this piece is code actually done. But the question is here come again, how you're going to work. For this, first of all, you need to save this project. So click on save. Now this trigger was actually saved. Now how we are going to check whether this trigger is going to work or not? Because here you see a go to option. Now if you click on the go to option, nothing is going to happen. So how you know? For this you need to come on the basic page, or you can say your main page of the Salesforce, like this page. And here you need to search where you need to search for here leads. So right now I'm just searching for leads here. Search for leads. Lead here. Here I'm getting lead because this trigger is going to work on leads. Now when I just open leads, here I need to come, and here you see this is the leads table which I just opened, and this is my leads, and here I am right now seeing. And we just perform this trigger on lead object. Now if you see this time, this lead object is nothing, but if I just try to create a new lead object, so this was a new type of operation. Here we get new, and here we need to give some information. So just trying to give a new lead like name, situation name, Mr. After this first name, let's just give Aditya. After this, I need to give last name. I just give last name again. After this, I need to specify here company. This is specifying the company. And here you can see I just done every part which was okay. And here's the lead status, working contacted, and nothing is more required. Now, if this time I try to click on save here, you see this was saved, and here we get lead Mr. Aditya Dubey was created. But nothing was going to happen. The trigger was not actually executed this time successfully. If you see this time, everything was whenever I try to save this contact or some thing, I'm not going to get any information or any update this time. Like if you see this trigger was actually created, but here you will get the message here. Now, whenever you're done with all of the codes, here you will get the operations, like what was running here. And now here you will see the success rate. Now, whenever you perform any type of trigger execution, it will create a log for you and you will save all that logs on this section. And how you're going to see this? Like here you can see on this section, I will just created this trigger, and here this trigger was created. But the body of this trigger is actually nothing. That's why we are not able to see anything. Now if I come again on the developer section, and here you can see I have all this unread message, and here on 2020, which time? Okay, so let's try to see this message. So now if I click on the view content, here I will see the view content. Now if I need to click on the debug icons, so this is Aura, this is Aura, operations, browser. Okay, so here I need to search for the other. Aside this, we are able to find our component. And here you see, we just executed our trigger in the logs, and here we get that message that the trigger is called. Because this is an automated process, that's why we are not able to see that thing there. And here we are able to see how a trigger is automated called. Like you see, we just saved this program, this my trigger, which was going to execute on lead triggers, and it has nothing to do with any other programs. So we just created a trigger and saved this. And now when I just come to this section on the leads, and I just created a new type of lead, Aditya, a trigger was automatically executed. Share this tab, and in the debugger section you are also able to see the result or the message which we just trying to print. That trigger is called. Now this is how simply trigger works. In this section now you can think that someone print a greeting message also, like system.debug or greeting email message, which was going to send an email to that particular user. So whenever this particular thing was going to call, that user is going to send an email. For example, if I want to write here a message, just give me a second. So what happened if you just created a program, or you can say a code, which was used for sending a message or sending an email message to someone? How this is going to work? So suppose right now I just get a code of from let's suppose here I have a code which was I'm going to use for sending a message. Like here I'm just going to write this code. Wait a second. Okay, just let me go. Here this is the piece of code which was actually used for sending someone an email. Right now if you see this, this is the main code which was used for sending a mail. So what it will say, first create a new email message. So message dot single email message mail is equal to, here this is used for creating a new email message, and this function is going to create a new single mail, like message dot single email message, and this is the function which is mail equal to new message single message. After this you need to set the target object id to user id is a different thing. Mail set target replace with the actual user id, and different other things. If you write the same code inside this trigger, and now what was going to happen? So, and in the inside this email message, you just give a greeting message. So now whenever you call this particular action was happened, means whenever a new user was created and you want that the company will send a greeting message. So it is not possible for the company to he was go and write a greeting message for every single person. So they created a lead, or they created trigger in their CRM software. So whenever a new user come to the software, what this trigger was going to do? This trigger is going to produce and this code automatically, and it will send him an email message or a greeting message or the information or the rule and the policies about the company. And this will just increase the time and efficiency and reduce the work of a particular process by doing the task automation. And this is how a simple, or you can say a small trigger works. Now I think everyone is clear with triggers, so let me just remove this piece of code. Okay, control backspace. Let me just send this code to you. Try to run this thing on your system and see how this works. Control C. After this triggers, the next part we are going to talk about is the new or the more commands in this trigger. Like this is the basic trigger which have two only options, like before insert or before update. Now let's try to make more modified or more advanced trigger and see how that these triggers and how these triggers is going to properly work in a smooth environment without any other problem. So right now I'm going to create some more. Just give me a second. So right now I'm going to create some more triggers which is going to work fine, but they have different options. Like this trigger is executed after. But here I'm going to create some triggers which is going to execute on the spot when the database has performed some operation. Here you can see we actually use the before insert and before update. But here we are going to write the second thing which will be like after insert or after update, which is very useful. So here we are going to write our first automation and let's see how this is going to work using the first after update and after you can say delete like this type of thing. So let me just start writing. Okay. So here I am again going to perform the same task on not any other thing on the lead also. So this will be also going to be lead. The first statement was going to be same. Nothing is going to change. Here what I'm going to do, I'm going to write here a loop inside. Like here, let me just write here a loop for and where this loop is going to be work for. This loop is going to work on the lead object. So for lead, so this loop is going to work on lead object which was already created and where this is going to work. So after lead, I need to create a local variable which was going to fetch some data. So after lead, I need to create a local record, which will be lead record, which was just created by me. So lead record for lead record after this double column. And here you need to specify where this lead record or where this for loop is going to actually fetching. So it was going to fetching on trigger.new, the new trigger which we just created. So trigger dot new, and here comes the main part. Now here you see right now many of you just thinking what we are writing. First, just let me complete this code. Then I'm going to explain you every bit of this thing, what was written here and what was the use of this code. So just give me a second. Here, string being is going to be here. If yes, let me just write it. Then I'm going to explain you everything. If string dot is blank, let me see the problems. Underscore if string is black. Okay, I need to write this. If string is blank, okay. Control C. Just give me a second. Dot. This part is also done. After this, I need to write the body of the if block here, and this is going to work on. Okay, so now I think every piece is done. Let's just see the problem actually. Okay, so line 6. Just give us line 2. Okay, now let me. Okay, so here just let me explain what this whole thing is going to do. So here it will be look a little bit more complicated, like what I did here, and what is the use of this thing, and what I written here. So now this is basically a simple automation task which was used for, you can say, automatically put a value inside a field. Like if you see sometime when you go to a website and there are multiple check boxes. So even if you have not filled some boxes, they will be automatically filled with a specific value or a custom value. Like there are some fields which is not going to be empty. So if you feel these fields are not going to fill, they are going to have some value automatically by their default. This is what we are doing here also. Here we are also doing the same thing. Like if you see, we are storing other here. Now where we are actually storing other. So if I come on the leads again here and share this tab. So here you see when I click on this new case, click on this new case and this new, I am able to create a new lead here. Okay, new case actually I choose this. I need to come again on the leads. So when I click on new, here you see I need to create a new lead this time. Now what I did here, I will just specify that this lead source, if the user fill this or not, it was always going to be the other source. Means if the user fill this thing, then it is going to be work. Otherwise, this lead source is always going to be other. How I'm going to do this? Let's see this code first and try to understand every bit of part. So let me share this tab instead. And here you can see first what I written here, trigger my trigger only. So this trigger is a trigger which was going to perform a lead. And here we have two options. Like this trigger is going to perform a before insert and before update. Before means before inserting the data inside the database, we are performing this trigger before because we need automatically specifying this other value to the particular, you can say, the lead source without using this. So here what I did here we see I just created a simple for loop, and if you see this value, what I did here, first I will write a for loop, and what this for loop was going to do. So the for loop is used for lead records, like we have different type of lead records, and it was going to know that when a new record is coming. So like here you can see I write that for lead record, then double column trigger dot new. So this trigger dot new is a list of new version of the record that is been recorded or inserted or updated. This lead, the whatever loop we created now, it was going through everything, or you can say every new record which was created in the list assigned to the lead record. So what was going to happen? Let me just clear it again. So here you can see for leads, we created here this lead record, and this lead record is a local variable which needed to be go to the check for or retrieve the data. But which data it was going to retrieve? Here you can see you have created, we have writing a new function trigger dot. This trigger dot new means it was going to get a list of all the new data which was created inside the trigger. So whenever a new data was created inside a trigger, this is going to be insert. This trigger dot new has all the data. Then this trigger dot new get that data, and our loop was actually trying to retrieve against all the data. So whatever data this trigger dot new has holding, we are going to this. And what this trigger dot new is holding, it holds a list of the new version of the records that are being inserted or updated. After this, if you see the second line, now let's come to the second line of this program, is this line. If a string is blank, now here I use a message like, because if you see this section, if I open this again, share this tab, you can see this lead source is actually holding a string value. So that's why here I use a message that if a string section is blank, means whatever we are going to put inside this string, if this is blank, what was going to happen? Here lead record dot lead source. Here if you see, I use this message, this lead record, which is a local variable. So this lead record dot lead source, because lead source is our this particular field section. If you see this lead source, and if you just and go for the field name, or so you find that the field name of this thing is lead resource. After this we specify this particular field name lead resource by the local variable after this lead record dot lead resource, because this lead record is right now actually fetching all the data, all the new data which was created inside the system. So it will go to the lead record of the lead source, and what it was going to do, it was after going to this place, we are just specifying or referring that this lead record or lead source should be others. Means if a user don't give anything, else field will automatic going to be other. Now let's save this code and try to see does this work or not. So if I click here again on save all, The code was again saved successfully. And here you can see in the downtown, now you are not seeing any type of logs here. If I just open the logs also, here you see there are some logs and right now you are able to see. But let's try to see here, this is the latest log which will be on 200146, means it was on 801, and now let's see how many logs we are going to get this time. I'm now coming on the leads, share this tab, and now I'm going to create a new lead. So name is Mr. Here just give the first name will be suppose here we are going the name which will be suppose Bridge Bhushan, Bridge. After this here we need to give the name which will be Singh. After this here we need to give the company name which will be like anything which you want to specify. Here I'm just going to give a company, a basic company name which will be owner. After this we need to specify the title which we are not going to specify, and here comes the main. Now you see right now I am not specifying anything. Right now this lead source should be like none. So now if you see, if right time this lead should be none or nothing, and I am not specifying. If this field is nothing, empty. Now if I try to click on save this time, let's see what was going to happen. So now if I click on save, here you can see this piece was actually created. And now if you come here on the details section, here you can see in the lead source we already get by default other. Now you're saying this was happened for everything. No, this is actually not happened for everything, because if I come on Aditya Dubey which I just created, here you can see in the Aditya Dubey, if I come on the details in the lead source, you see there will be nothing any value. But right now you just specify that lead source should be others. You can also create different things, like if I just come again on the leads like here, and let me just create a new change, create a new again. So if I try to create one more lead right now like here, and this time in the lead source suppose we have a new message like this partner referral or this purchase list. So I need our web. So if I just specify in the programs that whatever this was going to put, the lead source should be web. So share this tab instead, and this time I'm going to change it from other to web. Means now if a user don't give anything, it was automatically by default going to be for web. And now just save this trigger again, Control S. It was saving this time. It will take a little bit time. Now this time this trigger was saved, and now if I want to create a new type of lead record, this record is going to be stored as a name of web, or you can see it was named as the web. So here I'm going to create a new, just give any name like a random company, should be anything. And here when I click on save, this time you can see I don't specify lead source to anything, and I click on save, and this time this lead should be changed to web, and this was done by default. So this is what happened when a lead was created. And if you focus this thing clearly, this was before insert and before update. What happened if I just change this code to a little bit more, like in the place of before insert, what happened if I write after insert? Let's see that this trigger is going to work then or not. So if I write here after insert, means this trigger is going to work after insert, and this is going to work after update. Let's see what was going to happen. Now this time I want to see that this trigger is going to produce an error, or it was going to handle this problem by himself, or give us the right result. So after insert and after update, I need to save this code. So click on save here, and this particular piece of code is start saving. Now this time, let's see what was going to happen, and this was successfully saved. Now if I just simply click on execute this time, it was going to give us a simple error. Let's try to save. And now if I click on here, and I'm going to create one more lead, a new lead. And this time instead of that, I just need to create here a new lead again. So new. And here just trying to give the information like anything. Here the first name, anything, last name, anything, and company, anything. And still you see I am not specifying a lead source to anything, and if I click on save this time, you see what we are going to get. see here we get a message that we hit snag. If you see, when you are writing a trigger and when you have faced some sorry, here, okay, here you see we are getting a problem here. Like here you can see I'll just write a Mr. and a random name, and here we get a message like we hit a snag. Like my trigger dot execution after insert caused by system dot final exception. Record is read only trigger my trigger dot line. Means it was saying that whatever trigger you are going to execute is not going to work properly because the code you written is for before insert, but you are writing after insert or after update. So this is not going to work properly. So it was just giving us a warning that we need to change the trigger, otherwise it was not going to work properly. So this is the important thing you need to remember, that if you make a small mistake, the whole trigger is not going to work properly. So here I'm going to again change this before to after. Sorry, this after to before. And the same thing I need to do on the second also. So let me just copy this. And the same thing I need to do here also. So just remove this line of code here from and control plus B. Now this is going to be work properly. Now let's try to see the next triggers or the some few examples, like how this after update and how the after delete actually going to work. So now after this, I'm going to write my second keyword, or you can say the trigger events. Like we have different type of trigger events also. Like here you can see already there are two events, like the first before update, after update. Now we are going to just write all the trigger events which is going to happen in our programming language. So just give me a second, guys. Sorry, just give me 2 minutes. Just give me 2 minutes, guys. Okay, so trigger events are different. There are many types of trigger events in the Apex programming language. The first trigger event we have is we need to talk about all the trigger events one by one. So let's talk about every trigger events which we have right now. So the first trigger event which we have is this before insert trigger event. Now this before insert trigger event is actually going to work before inserting a data inside a database. So this is the first trigger event which we have, which is before insert. Also, rather than before insert, we have one more trigger which is before update. So this before insert is always going to work. Okay, here I have a problem actually. Okay, wait a second. Okay, now this is. Give me a second, guys. Okay, so the first thing we have is this before insert, which was going to always work before inserting any data in the database. It was always run before a new record is inserted into the database. After this, you see the second thing we have is the before update. Now, this before update is also very useful because it will run before an existing record is updated. For example, if you have two records, suppose you have two records, then this before update is going to only work before updating an existing record. So if you have a record which was right now available in your system and you try to update that thing, then this trigger event is going to work before update. After this, the third is we have is the before delete. Means if you have some data in the database or if you want to delete this, so before deleting that database, this record is going to work. Like you already see a message multiple times, then when you try to delete a particular item, that are you sure you want to delete that thing? So these are the automation process which was showed by the triggers. And this is how the triggers is actually going to work. After this three things is known as before events. After the three things, we have the next three, which is the after events. The after events is same as the before events. Now, after events is having the same result, like after insert, after update, after delete, but after insert, we have one more method. In after, we have one more event, which is after undelete. So after insert, it will run after a new record is inserted like before. before, after is going to work same way. After this, after update is going to work after updating a new value. The same way after delete, it was done after deleting a value. The after and delete is a little bit different. It will run after record is undeleted from the recycle bin. Means if you have a data in the recycle bin and you just get back to the main file, then this particular event is going to work. Now let's going to talk about every event one by one and see how this is going to work. So I have already written a code for all of you. Let me just share to all of you this code. I think I created one of already triggers already. File new. Okay, so here if you see, I have already created a trigger on my system already, which was used for this type of purposes. Now this trigger is also going to work on the same way, or you can say on the same platform, on the particular lead object, and this is very useful. Now this is named as lead trigger. Actually, I just name it a lead trigger because it was going to perform on leads. And now if you see this trigger, you will able to understand why this trigger is very useful. I just created this trigger a long time ago. Sorry, not a long time ago, actually some time ago. And this trigger is very useful because it has all these events in a single thing, and it will work very finely. Guys, am I my screen is still stuck? Is my screen is freeze right now? Can anyone please tell me? Is my screen freeze right now? Can anyone please tell me, is my screen is right now freeze?
Your screen is visible, sir.
Ma'am, it is visible, but it was freeze, I think. Can you just confirm, like it was nothing happening on the screen, am I right?
Yeah, it's just a white screen and some nothing is happening, sir.
Okay, okay, ma'am, just give me a second. Just give me a second. Just give me a second, ma'am. I just need to reshare it. Okay, right now I think it was visible to all of you. Okay, so if you see, this
Yeah,
is
now
the
it
code
is
of,
fine, sir.
yes, ma'am, thank you. Now, if everyone is able to say this time, this is the trigger code which we are going to right now execute, which has all the 6 methods like before insert, before update, and everything. And this trigger is also going to work on the lead triggers. Like if you see, let me start from the starting. So if you see the first line in this program, it was a lead trigger on lead object. Like here you can see trigger lead trigger on lead. After this, what we did here, you need just give the all the statements which we are going here. Like before inserting, if we are inserting element, after this before updating, then before deleting, then after inserting, after updating, after deleting, after undeleting. So we get all these triggers is going to execute one by one in a way. So we are going to check every action one by one and see how this is going to work in a proper way. Like let's see how this is going to work and what type of errors and what type of values we are going to get. Now after this, see, this is the first condition or the first block of our code. Let me just give a second. Let me just remove this. Put it. Okay, now this. After this, if you okay, so here from here, if you see, this is the body of the code which will start from. Just give me a second, guys. Let me just make it more readable. Inside this, we give a condition like if trigger dot is before, means if it was going to run like is before, the trigger is before, then it will come inside this block, and what it was going to do, if trigger is dot is insert, means if it was is before, if is before is going to execute like this before event was occurring. Now, if this before event is going to occurring, we are going to check all these three things: is insert, system.debug before insert trigger. The same thing goes if trigger is updated. Like if trigger is updated, we again going to come on this section and say system.debug before update trigger. The same thing if trigger is delete, if trigger is delete, if this particular method is called, and system.debug before delete trigger. So we are going to get these three messages whenever these three types of action will perform. After this, we created one more if block, and inside if this is for is after. If trigger dot is after, what was going to happen? Whatever action was going to happen, if any trigger is going to execute after the particular action. So if trigger is after execution, means this process for after. If trigger is insert, if it was is insert, then system.debug after insert. If trigger is updated, system.debug after the update trigger. If trigger is delete, system.debug after delete trigger. And the last, if trigger is undelete, system.debug after undelete trigger. Now let's save this code and see how this is going to work when we are trying to perform different type of trigger option here. So if I click on save here, it was saving, and now a trigger was created, and now I'm coming here on the developer console this time, and let's see how this trigger is going to work. So wait just a second, actually just give me a second, guys. Okay, sorry, I just need to plug my laptop. Okay, so here you see right now I'm going to perform some operations like before after insert operations. So first, let's try to delete a particular record and see what was going to happen. So now if I try to delete this record, let's see how I'm able. So if I click on here, I will get an option delete. So if I click on delete, a trigger should execute it. Now after clicking on delete, see this file was actually deleted here, and it will say lead was deleted. Now if I come on the developer section, oh sorry, actually I need to share this tab. Okay, I'm sharing this tab. So I just deleted a single record from here, and now I coming on the again on the developer screen, and here I want to see what was going to happen. So if I just make it a little bit up here, and here you can see, and here we get some logs, and this log say that this is success. Now if I click on this, it was unread trigger, and here if I go to the debug section, here you can see we get two messages here happening. First we get a message which say before delete trigger, and here we get after delete trigger. Means we executed two parts. Before deleting the trigger, we executed because this trigger is going to execute on two conditions. First trigger which was going to execute after deleting a trigger, and the first trigger which was going to execute after delete. So these two triggers was created whenever you delete a trigger. After this, let's come to the next thing and try to update a value and see what was going to happen. So this time I just deleted a trigger, but this time I'm going to update a trigger. So if I click here on this time, and I'm going to click on here edit, and now if I click on edit, you can see here I'm able to edit this piece of information. So right now I'm updating thing. So instead of XLR, I'm going to change it like new number, and this time I'm just going to save this. Now if I try to save this time the piece of code, here we get an error. Review the error on this page. My trigger.execution of after update caused by system.final expression. Record is read only trigger my trigger line. So this record is only okay. So we are not able to edit this thing by here. So what I need to do, we need to click on this section actually. Okay, and from here I think we are able to update this. So okay, So from here I'm able to update this. So from lead source, I'm going to just write this, update this time. So just lead source, I'm going to update it from here. So phone inquiry, and now I'm clicking on save. Now here you see this particular thing was actually done and lead source was done. Now if I come again on the developer section, again one event was created here, and here you can see there are three events created. First, the record is only event, which was we get the error, and this event is created because we just executed. Let's see every event and see what type of errors we get here. Here we get two methods. Before update trigger is called. So these are the first trigger whenever the trigger is gone, and here we get a message at before update trigger. After this, here you see again we are going to get a message, and this time if you again go to the debuggers, here you see we again get this time no. Okay, here we see what we get this time. Okay, here you see this is the perfect example, like here first before update trigger executed before updating the trigger, and after updating the trigger this trigger was also executed after update trigger. The same way when you try to create a new file, it is also going to the same way, and these triggers were actually created whenever you try to create a new type of operation, either it was before, either it was after, or either it was anything. And now this trigger is very useful because instead of writing these piece of information, what you are going to write inside this if else condition, there will be different types of actions. Like you want to perform before insert something, after insert something, after update something. Like these type of operation you can perform on these triggers. Now this is the part of triggers which we use for the automation purposes, and this is a very simple example which can tell you all the events of a trigger in a single line. Let me just copy this code and send to you on the chat box. Okay, here you get this code. Now let's talk about the next program in our particular programming language. Sorry, in the triggers. And the next is very important thing. After triggers, we need to focus to our main topic of this thing. Like what is next come in the trigger? Like after trigger. After trigger, we have the next thing is validation and throwing errors and triggers. Like, and we can also perform validation and throwing errors and triggers. They are very useful. Like you can give multiple triggers or different things. So right now I'm going to teach about validation three. Like sometime if you see when you're trying to write a trigger or we are filling a form, there are some specific field where you are not allowed to leave that field empty, and this is where we are going to use this validation rule. So if we use this validation rule, what was going to happen? We validate a field that this field should not be going to empty through the triggers. Means we are going to do that task with the triggers. Let's see how we are going to do this. So first let me write the code for this, and then we are going to start this. Just give me a second guys, I just need to drink water, then I'm going to start it again. Sorry for the delay. Now we are going to talk about how we perform a validation rule using a trigger. Now everyone is thinking what is actually a validation rule. So if I open leads again too for you, here you see validation rules means when I open this, click on new. Like what is valid? Like here you can see you have see a small star on this section. These star means that these are the validation rules. Means these fields should be necessary to fill these fields. Now we are going to perform the same thing through the triggers. So you are also able to perform validation rules through the triggers also. And here I'm going to do the same thing. So first I'm going to create a new trigger. So just remove this, click on file, new, Apex triggers. Now here you see there is a problem. Like if you create multiple triggers for a single Apex class, it will be a little bit problematic. And we already did that part. So what I'm going to do, if you come on this section and if you click on this developer setup icon, you will open this tab, and if you come here and here if you search for triggers, here you can search for triggers and here you can get group triggers and other thing, group member triggers, topic, and here you'll get Apex trigger. Now when you click on the Apex triggers, here you will open this type of setup Apex triggers, and here you see you have two triggers, lead triggers and my trigger, and both are active and where it was both on lead object. So when you create multiple triggers, it was going to be a problem on the object because every trigger has their own programs, own logics, and when you have multiple triggers for a single object, they are going to be conflict and you are going to get unknown errors which you don't even know. So it is a very good practice to create only one trigger for a single object, and you can write all of your methods and all of your functions for that particular object in the single trigger. So always try to create a single trigger, not more than that. Now let's come here and try to create a new trigger because we just already deleted the old triggers, and now I'm going to create a new trigger here this time, and which is going to work for us. Now this time I'm again going to this file section, clicking again on files, new. After this I need to click on Apex trigger, and here this will be lead trigger again, and click on submit. And now okay, let's just see, I think I already delete this file, new. Let me just refresh this page once. Okay, file, new, Apex trigger, lead trigger, lead trigger, object, leads, submit, and here we created our new trigger on lead, and this is going to happen before insert. Before inserting in data, this is going to happen. Why this is going to happen? Because this is a validation rule, and validation rules should be work before inserting any data on the database. So here I am going to just write a simple method or simple code which is going to make a validation rule. How I am going to do this? For this I need to use the if keyword, and this if keyword is going to work for me. So here I need to give the condition like if here if after this here I'm going to use a, you can say, a method of a string which is dot is blank is blank. Now this method return a boolean variable either true or false on the basis of a string. So if a field is blank, if this method is going to return two things, either it was going to return you value true or false. After this field needs the place where you are going to check this thing. So we need to specify where I'm checking this thing. So here I'm just going to specify lead records because I'm just going to check this on lead records. So here lead records. So I'm going to check this on lead records of the leads on leads. So it was just going to check on lead record dot industry. So lead record. After this, I need to specify where I'm just checking this on the field. So I'm just specifying any field. So I'm just specifying dot industry actually. So dot industry. So right now what I'm checking a field. So string dot is blank is going to for a particular string. It wants a field. So this is a variable, or you can say the place which refers the industry field. So lead dot record dot industry is going to refer the industry field, and this string dot is blank is going to check. If this field is false, what was going to happen? If our condition is false, remember, whatever condition, if our condition is true, the if is not going to execute. But if our condition is false, what was going to happen? We come to the block of if here. And what was going to here? This is the main part. Here we are going to give all error message. So what we are going to do? We are going to add here error, like lead record dot error. So let's just add here an error. So lead record add error. Let's copy this line, lead record, and here I'm just going to get add error, lead record dot add error, which will be a function. So here we are adding error with lead record. We are adding an error on the lead record dot add error. And now what this add error is going to do? This add error is going to produce an error every time when the user try to give here a message which was empty. If the lead record field or if the industry field is going to empty, then we come to this message which is lead recorded error. And what this method is going to return? It was going to return a string value or string message like this industry field cannot be blank. So here just writing this field cannot be blank. I'm just writing this field can't be blank, can't be blank. Now this part is done here. This field can't be blank. Now this piece of code is done, but if you see, come here, you see there will be very much problems if I see here. Now why we are seeing these type of problems here, you can see like here on line 4 missing variable does not exist, and here you see we get a message that this variable is not actually exist, and this is true. This lead record is not executed. So first we need to create a for loop which was going to fetch this lead record, which we already created in the previous methods where we fetching the lead record and trying to print out. Right now I just need to create one more for loop which was going to just work for my sorry which is just going to work for my particular lead record or for loop. So I'm just going to create a simple for loop like which is just like a very simple. So just create. After this, here I'm going to create a for loop. So after this for, and inside this for, I'm going to specify this lead record, which will be going to create a new variable, which was going for leads, and it was going to fetch all the new data on the lead. So for this will be for lead. After this, the variable name, which will be lead record, because I'm using this variable to access all the elements of the new created record. So lead is equal to triggers trigger trigger dot new, and this is going to return all the new records of the lead. After this, here you can see the bracket was open, and just remove this piece of code here from and coming it after this. Okay, now I just created a for loop for lead is equal to lead record is equal to trigger dot new. After this, I'll just give a message like if a string is blank, lead record dot industry leader dot add error, and this, and here we get again an error like expecting this, but we got this. Now here is the problem, and we need to solve this thing. Right now you see we are actually using here a for loop, but we still get this problem this time again, and this is a little bit complicated problem. And why we are getting this thing? Here you see this is the problem of indentation. Sometimes you can say it actually matters because now for and if was in a same way, and this is going to be consumed on a single line, but actually this is going to be a little bit problematic. So here we need to follow this validation rule completely, so this is going to work properly. So what I need to do, just give me a second. Third, work properly. Let me just copy this piece of code. Okay, so from here to here. Okay, so this will be good. For lead records, trigger.new. Okay, still we are getting this problem. Still it was showing actually the problems. wait a second, I just need to remove this also for okay. Now this should be not going to give an error. Let's save this code. Yeah, this was expecting. I just don't. Okay, so we are expecting this for lead record dot. Okay. Here actually I'm getting this error because I use equal to sign here. Okay, now this is going to work properly. Yes. So now we just clear this part because I just miscalculatedly here put this the equal to sign. That's why we are getting this error. And now this slave trigger was actually created, and now I need to save this trigger again. Now I just save this trigger, and now this will become a validation rule for the wishful for the industry field. Now this industry field is actually available in our lead. So if I just share this tab, now if you see this time, if I just create a new records, here you see everything was going to be here available right now for in front of your screen. Now in the industry section, you're able to see we don't have a star, but this time see if I don't fill the industry tab, I'm going to get an error. So name Mr. Here first name Abhinav Abhishek actually Chauhan. After this here company just give XLR or owner. After this here comes the industry section. So now if I try to click on save here, here you get we get a snack button, and here we say get a message review this error on the page, this field cannot be blank. But here is the problem, we don't actually know which field he is right now talking about because we left too much field. So what we are going to do, we need to make that every field should be actually filled. So I'm again coming on the developer section, and here in the place this industry field. Okay, so this industry field, control C, this industry field cannot be blank, and now this piece of code is done. Now if I just save this again code, save, now this particular piece of code is working fine for the lead records, and it will give us an error whenever we try to save a record which is not working. So now if I come again on the need new leads, and if I just try to again save, here you get this time we again get a message like we need a snack, and here we get this industry field cannot be blank. And this is how you are able to make this industry field working. Now if you click on this save action, it was properly working fine, and here we are able to save this thing. Now this is a very good option and a very good way to create these type of validation rules without even knowing. And see, there are many validation rules which was created by default, but some validation rules created by the developers by themselves using the triggers. Trigger will also do different type of tasks like automation and validation. So it can automate the validate the process whether you are giving a right value or not. And this is the basic code. If you see what we did, we don't use anything. And if you see, the most part of the code or the condition was only written using the for loop and the if loop. So that's why in the starting I focus only more on your basics concept, because when you're trying to write bigger program, the maximum thing you're going to use are these conditions: this for, if, else, classes, methods, functions, and these only. Now let me just send this code to you, and then we are going to talk about the last part of the trigger. So Control X. Okay, so this is the part. Now let's part for the last part of this thing, which we are going to talk about the next thing in our trigger. After this trigger, the next thing is a very important part, which is how we are going to call a trigger. Like, what is the way of calling a trigger? Like, how this trigger is. See, trigger is actually a very good thing, but the problem is that we need to call a trigger by a function. So here, how we are going to call a trigger using a function, this is the actual problem. So whenever you're writing a program, here actually you're not calling these triggers by themselves. You're calling all of the trigger by the particular statement or a function. So we create different functions for this, and we calling triggers using that particular function. Let me just show you a very quick what I'm trying to tell you. Just give me a second. I think I already written this. See, there are different types of trigger which was going to execute on different conditions. Like as we already know that trigger is going to work properly, or trigger is going to execute whenever a new type of record is like whenever you perform something, the trigger was actually successfully created. Like, and here we are able to see the log also. But the problem is that sometimes we need to call these triggers using a particular function or a method when you're writing a bigger program. Like suppose get unique. So for what happened? You need to call that trigger using that function which was creating unit token. So that function is going to call two things. First, it will create a unit token, then it will call the triggers, and then the trigger was actually executed. These things will actually. So basically, simple terms, if I tell you, triggers is used for performing automations on your particular CRM software. It will be anything. Either you want to send a message, either you want to give some specification, either you want to perform some type of operation, either you want to send bulk emails or other things. Triggers is used for all of these processes, and it will make your work very slow. And there will be no any limitations in triggers, so you can do whatever you want with triggers. There will be no any foundation in non-limitations. You can perform and create multiple triggers as you want, and you can make all of your particular tasks in a very quick way. Like we already see, we created different type of validation rules. You also create bulk message sending, which I already just show you. Like in the place of that particular hello message, you can just put email sending message, or you can create a trigger which was going to work after deletion. Like after deleting, it will also send an email message that you are deleted, removed from the company due to this reason or like this. After updating particular person, you will also able to send a message. So these are the automation tasks which can be very useful when you are doing things. And when you have triggers, you can save a lot much time of the client for who you are making CRM. So this is all for the today. In the next class, we are going to talk about the frameworks which we are going to use for making the front end of our CRM software. Like we already talked about much more things about the back end, about the how we are going to write our code, how we are going to deploy our projects and other things. But the time is come. We are on the next class on Monday. We are going to talk about the next thing, which is the Salesforce, or you can say the Visual Force Lightning Web, which is a framework which was used for creating the front end of the Salesforce CRM software. So on Monday class, we are going to talk about the front ends of the Salesforce platform and how we are able to create a better or a good looking CRM software with a great front end. So this is for all. Let's meet on the next class on Monday. Have a good day, all of you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So as tomorrow and after tomorrow is Saturday, Sunday, we don't have a session. We are meeting again on Monday. So Monday will be the day 15. So for 1 hour, sir is going to take a class. Like till 8:10, sir is going to take a class. After 8:10, I'll be sharing a assessment link on the chat. So we'll be having assessment for 50 marks. It's a MCQ question. So students, I request please inform all of your friends to join the session by Monday. So we do have assessment as well. Okay, fine. Thank you all for joining. Kindly, I request please mark your attendance without any file. Thank you all. Good night.